Hey, it's FriYay. It's FriYay. FriYay, yes, this is the day of celebration as we say goodbye to another magical week. And I'm pretty excited about it. I really am. I'm not coming to work tomorrow. And now you haven't seen me for 2 days, but I was absolutely working, just not here. I was doing stuff and things that were really important. In fact, one of the most important things that I was doing was honoring our retirees. We had a number of people retire over the last couple of years. We had a big party to celebrate them and their contributions to traffic services and the Toronto Police Service. So that was awesome. If you're watching, if you're listening, thank you for all you did and for paving the way for us who have come into work and continue working now that you're enjoying retired life. Just saying. But really, awesome people who deserved much thanks, and I think they got the party that they needed. There was no hula hoops, there was no limbo line, but it was good stuff. If you're watching, this is Ask a Traffic Cop. My name is Sean Shapiro, and we are currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter. And you can ask questions, unless you're on Twitter. And if you're on Twitter, go to trafficcop.ca, hit the link for YouTube, and you can come join in and be part of the online party. Of course, if you are on TikTok, my wife, is actually online, stepping in for JD, who's not here today, as the moderator. So thank you to you. And let's get things going. We've got T.Cop, who I saw at the retirement. He was there. He's in TikTok. He says good morning. Brandy says hi. And there we go. M. Shap is there. Let's see here. Go back to this. You can watch replays of this event later on your favorite podcasting platform, because we do that. Yes, I download the episode, I change the sync, I lower the quality of the video and make it available on podcasting apps. And why have video on podcasting? Well, apparently certain platforms do have video capability, so we make it available on podcast platforms. We also have an actual podcast where we interview people. That's different. That's called TPS Traffic Jam, also available on podcasting platforms. But then you have all of these episodes forever and ever and ever available on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.trafficcop.ca, go to our channel, you can subscribe to us there. Okay, let's see what's cooking in the room. Chase, good morning to you. Chase says, the notification for this live has made my Friday. I'm glad to hear it. It's been too long. Yes, 2 days of no live streaming is just weird, isn't it? Zombie says, happy FriYay. Big Jeff Fresh says, good morning. M. Shap, Leo wife, I don't know which username to refer to you guys, but happy Friday. My wife says, happy Friday. We got here, Nathan says, good morning. Johnny Nguyen says, good morning, Sean. Hope you have an amazing day. I've already had a great start to the day, and the day's halfway over, so it's going well, and I'm going to ride that right into the weekend and enjoy a weekend. And I get to see my brother. That's going to be exciting. He's coming into town. Let's see here. Michael says, FriYay, because Sean is live and not retiring. People got scared because I had I uploaded a video and had to change the settings, but people got an alert that a retirement video was coming, and they thought it was my retirement. So I am not retired. I'm still here, working away. Let's see. We have questions about tint laws. It says legs, but I think it's laws. Is there any laws around driving barefoot? Keep hearing different stories. We can talk about that for sure. When will police charging bicycles that break the road? I think it's break the law, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Tim Shallow says, good morning, Sean. Happy Friday. Sean and Leo wife, hope you're having an amazing weekend. Yeah, that's jumping. You're getting me into the mood for a weekend, and it's not here yet. I still have stuff to do, but I'm definitely ready, and I hope that everyone has good things planned. But you know what? A couple of things to think about before we talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team, and that is that it's getting darker earlier and staying darker later. So things to think about in terms of pedestrian safety. We've had a whole bunch of pedestrians struck, and sadly, many who have been killed. And I want to talk about the things that can be done to help make it safer for everybody. And this is the very quick thing I want to talk about, and we'll move on. But it's darker, so make sure if you're driving, make sure your headlighting system is on. Seeing them is important. Slowing down, giving yourself more time to react when you do see them, that's important too. People talk about speed and don't think it's important. I talk about the fact that speed kills. and no one believes me. And then we get people who get killed and someone wants to make excuses and don't want to, many people want to make excuses and not accept that many of these things are simple to avoid. Slow down, pay attention, don't be on your phone, turn your headlights on. And it's not just drivers I speak to when I talk about this. Pedestrians, wear bright colored clothing. Make sure you're not on your phones. Pay attention to the fact that cars are coming and may not be paying attention to you. I think one of the fatal flaws of many people's days, regardless of how you're getting around, is that we kind of assume that everybody else is doing the right thing, and then we just sort of bop along doing what we do. And we kind of have to assume that everybody's out to get us. It's not paranoia if people are out to get us, because they are. No, they're not paying attention. And it's sad. It's sad when people get killed and it was avoidable, because all collisions are avoidable if everybody's paying attention and doing the right thing. Yeah, sort of a Vision Zero enforcement team. Well, Vision Zero is a whole concept. Vision Zero is that we have a goal of 0 deaths and serious injuries on our roads. We have a goal of 0 because it's attainable, but everyone has to sort of buy into the concept. Now, we have a team called the Vision Zero enforcement team. They go out to try to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They do that by focusing on the big 4: speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. Those are the things that we know lead to serious injury and death. So why do we still have lots of tickets to write? Because people aren't getting the message. It's simple as that. You could put the Vision Zero enforcement team out of business. If everyone stopped breaking the law, they'd be very bored, and we'd find other things for them to do. But there's a need for them. And today that need, well, it's in 22 Division and 51 Division, the neighborhoods of Etobicoke West Mall, Queensway, St. Jamestown, Cabbagetown? Yeah, I said pound. I don't know why. Riverdale, Church and Yonge. Those are neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. And we post these locations daily on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. So follow us if you'd like to keep up to date with stuff and things. I'm going to flag some more questions here. I hope that everyone has a great weekend. And I will be posting a video later about the number of people who were arrested last weekend. Do I give you a heads up? Do I give you a preview of what is coming down the pipe? If you're watching my friend online, he is actually, we're just talking about Cabbagetown. Let's see here. I'm going to pull up a particular Twitter page for one TPS Traffic DC. And I'm going to tell you what I think it was TPS Traffic. Let's see. No, I typoed it. Traffic DC. Here we go, Scott Matthews. And he posts every Monday, and I take his information and I make a video every Friday talking about what he said on Monday. I do recycle. He's the source of information. So 19 people last weekend arrested for impaired operation. I'll leave the tidbits. Okay, you're going to get the inside track. One driver crashed into a karaoke bar. A driver was stopped traveling 60 kilometers an hour on the 401, and 10 drivers that were involved in crashes. So I wonder if the 10 was also part of the karaoke bar. I wonder. I don't know. Could have been 11. In any case, the deal is that those should never have happened. Those people should never have been behind the wheel of a motor vehicle or conveyance of any kind. And
there's absolutely no excuse nowadays.
No.
There was no excuse before, but absolutely nowadays, nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty sad that with the many, many moons of teaching and adverts on the radio, on television, on the internet, people are still deciding that it's not worth it. They won't pay for a taxi, or they're being cheap. They're saving a couple of bucks, and they're willing to risk lives to do that. And we see tragedy all the time. It's really, really sad.
And I can tell you, it costs an awful lot more, not only in lives, but it costs an awful lot more financially. If you crash, get caught, get charged, arrested.
They used to say it was about $15,000 to $30,000 to defend yourself after one of these charges. I believe the number's gone up considerably from there.
Well, everything in life has gone up recently, so I would imagine lawyers' fees have as well.
We have T-Dot Cop says good morning to Sarge. He said good morning to us earlier.
Good morning.
We've got a comment from David Mann, who says, "Get back to work. What are you doing here?" Are
you working?
I am working. I love when these questions come up because this is. I just realized nobody on Instagram can see us. Hang on one second. They still can't see us. They can see half of us now.
There we go.
But yeah, this is work. We're media relations officers. We're media relating. We're relating on social media. It's one of the medias. And we're educating. This is important stuff. You could go to a police station, wait in line, talk to a police officer, maybe get the right answer, maybe be told to come back, or you know where you can get us weekdays from 10 to 11, usually, and you can get us on our well, we have hundreds of hours of content that we've created. It's available on YouTube. This is good stuff, and certainly many people appreciate it, even if you think we should be doing other things.
Hey, you know what? Wouldn't you rather find out your answer to your question right now, right here, as opposed to at the side of the road, as I'm giving you a couple of signatures?
Well, that's it. We're willing to give you the answers to questions so you know stuff before you do stuff and end up getting charged for stuff. And it's a lot cheaper if you learn online. For free, by the way. This is free. It doesn't cost you a penny.
You know what? A big shout out to one of the officers I work with today, Constable Tony Vella. His first time on the show. He's watching for the first time.
He's watching right
He's
now?
watching right now.
He wants us to get a show on Fox and maybe CNN to cover both sides of the spectrum, but he thinks we should be nationally televised. We are not. We're international. This is an international show.
It is.
We have people from all over the world who
Worldwide.
shut out. Yeah. Okay, let's get into some questions because, by the way, Sergeant Murray Campbell is now joining me on screen. If you didn't know who he was, or if you're listening on the audio version after the fact, and I'll just take the opportunity to reintroduce myself. I'm Sean Shapiro, I'm police constable here at the Toronto Police Service, and David Mann wants to know what we do. We're the Traffic Safety Programs Office, the Media Relations Office, we're the Social Media Office. We plan retirement parties. We do all sorts of things.
We do.
We're the
Towing and impounding.
Yes.
Ministry liaison officers, construction liaison officers. We look after all that sort of stuff.
And that's something that many people don't understand. Anything that happens that's traffic related in or around the city, including train investigations, the movement of international protected persons, traffic services has a key role in that. We do everything. Whereas divisional officers, they do criminal investigations when it comes to all sorts of things. But anything that rolls, we have a hand to play in it.
Yep. And you know what? It always gets passed to us. Doesn't matter what's going on. If it's got wheels on it, somehow it makes its way down to our front desk and they have to filter it out from there.
Yes, we are the knower of stuff and things when it relates to things that roll.
Stuff and things.
Yes. Stephen Bell says, hi, good morning. I'm late. You're never too late to join the party. Thanks for chopping in. Vandro is joining us too. Good morning, everyone. He is the Brazilian fan that we talk about regularly, who is actually taking our content and recreating it in both Portuguese and Spanish. So he's helping to,
Very cool.
because he wants to be a police officer and he's doing things in advance to help his community. And I truly respect and appreciate what he's doing. It's very cool. Okay. Let's see. Yesterday I have traffic enforcement class at Citizenship College.
Very good.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. We've got here, is it illegal to, this is out of order. I accidentally hit the button, but we're going to go with it since it's on screen. Is it illegal to flash your headlights at oncoming traffic? To notify them that a cop is there? That's one of those interesting questions I like. I like this question.
Well, yeah, because there's a couple of different parts to it. Is it an offense to do it? Just the act of doing it? Is there an offense?
Well, you're improperly using your high beams.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, when people don't have their headlights on, sometimes we flash them to tell them. So if it's for a purpose, if it's for the lawful purpose, are you still doing the wrong thing? Sort of, but for the right reason.
By the letter of law, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But the thought behind it could be for a good reason or could be a bad reason.
And this is a bad reason, because if you're telling people police are ahead with the hope that they will change their behavior so they don't get a ticket, it's just preventing or delaying their behavior. They're going to do it again 10 minutes later or 10 seconds after they pass the officer. So they could go down the road and hit someone, kill someone. If they get pulled over and they get a ticket, they might actually slow down. And that is the goal. We are not here to collect taxes, as many people think we are, and they accuse us of being tax collectors. What we are here to do is to make the road safer, and by changing driver behavior, we do that.
You know what? If somebody is getting caught multiple times, then there's a mechanism in place for them. First of all, there's penalties for them. Their insurance goes up, and their driver's license gets reviewed. So if we don't have those mechanisms in place, the bad drivers, the risk-taking drivers, they're out there, they're not getting caught, and they're continuing to do it and putting you, the person who's flashing their headlights at them, at others, at risk. And why would you want to let somebody else put you at risk?
Well,
I don't get it.
You know what? Many people think that speeding is no big deal. And until something involving speed or a traffic issue impacts their family directly. If you lose a family member because of a collision, because of an impaired driver, because of suddenly it becomes important. Then you are instantly like a light switch on the other side of it. We don't want you to get there. We want everyone to just go and come and go and safely do what they have to do every day, and not ever feel the impact of the tragedy of a collision that changes lives.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you look at it, the higher the speed, the higher the potential, the higher the force to change that speed. So either to hit the brakes and avoid something, to change direction, or when it becomes impacted with something else, the higher momentum behind that causes more damage, more injury, and more likely death.
So the answer is you shouldn't be high beaming, whether it's legal or illegal. You shouldn't be high beaming to notify people of radar or speed enforcement. You know what? That's a moral thing that'll be up to you. But you are technically breaking the law when it comes to misusing your head.
I got to tell you, personal story. I stopped somebody who flashed me. I was in the plainclothes car.
You were wearing a jacket?
I was in uniform in a plainclothes police car, and somebody was sitting with a radar, and somebody flashed me, so I turned around, stopped them, gave them a ticket.
Good. Question, now we're back at the top of the list. I flagged a whole bunch. Window tint, legs, I think it means laws. Window tint is covered under two different sections. There's a section that deals with certification and the safety of a vehicle. At a certain point, it is unsafe, and your vehicle is unsafe with windows that are too tinted to be certified. That percentage that's lawful for certification is 30% on the windows left and right of the driver. The windows behind the driver, the rear seat, rear compartment, if you have a cargo hatchback kind of thing, those can be as dark as you want as long as you have a clear view to the rear. The windshield cannot have any tint unless it is a 2017 or 2016 or older. They can have a tint strip across the top that's 3 inches from the top of the screen or to the PS1 line. But really, nothing should be on your front windshield, period. 2017 or newer, any tint on your windshield will result in your vehicle being considered unsafe, and you can lose your license plates. But I'll tell you that lesser tint can still land you with a ticket, and that's because if the HTA says that you cannot, what is the word I'm looking for?
Obscure the interior
of your motor vehicle with a color or reflective tint. Now, gray is a color. It's just tint. Any tint film, reflective or non-reflective, if it's reducing the amount of light in and we can't see inside, can't see if you're wearing your seatbelt, can't identify you, can't see if you're using your phone, that sort of thing, day or night, you're eligible for a ticket. $110. There's another charge for obscuring the driver's view for outward. If you obstruct driver's view, there's another $110 ticket. Things can add up really, really quick. And again, if you're over that 30% threshold, which could be by putting a lower tint on an already tinted window, because some cars come factory tints. You put 25% on top of a window that already has a 5% reduction. Now you're over the 30% threshold potentially. And
even if you have a car that is less than the 30% threshold, if you go into somewhere like a tunnel or the darkness or somewhere where the atmospheric conditions change to not allow us to see in, it still may be legal. It's still for certification process, or
but not purposes, for driving.
But not for driving.
So, you know what? I get it. There's a number of things that people want to do to reduce solar load. Some people just want to pick their nose in private. It's my favorite thing to talk about. Yes, people want to dig for gold, but they are potentially lining themselves up for either tickets or for losing their license plates. So my suggestion is don't do it. Buy sunglasses. That's a better alternative.
Yeah, most glass nowadays has a UV protectant on it anyways. So it's not going to harm you.
Not many excuses.
Yeah. Back in the old days when it wasn't there, you'd see, cars with peeling dashes and cracking and stuff like that. You don't see that anymore because the windshield is doing all the work for you.
How long can I use my international license in Ontario? There's a big depends here. Are you a visitor or are you a resident? Are you someone who's moved here, as a student here? These things matter. If you become a resident, whether by becoming a permanent resident or a student, which is a temporary resident but a resident nonetheless, you can only use your license for 60 days from the time that you become a resident, and that's when you take up a resident address. You're not in a hotel anymore. Even in a hotel, could you be a resident in a hotel?
Yep, absolutely, you could.
So part of it's wording, part of it's intention, but as soon as you become a resident, you're it. Now, if you are staying here for as literally you're staying with mom, friend, cousin, whatever, you're visiting, those times can extend, but you may need an international endorsement for your foreign license, an international driving permit or translation card, and it depends on where you're coming in from. If you go to trafficcop.ca and you go down to the bottom, that's my link tree. At the bottom of the link tree, there is a useful links section, and visitors and newcomers to Canada driving when visiting, there's a whole bunch of information that you can go and use as a reference.
I want to point out just when I was reading there, it's not an international driving license. It's not a license.
That's true.
The document itself is not a license to allow you. What it does is a translation card that goes along with the license that is valid in the country that you've come from.
Yes.
And it's only a translation card because we may not be able to read whatever language your license is in.
So if you come up here and you give me your international driving permit, which is not a driver's license, I will not accept that. That means you're driving without a license. That is, it has to accompany your foreign license.
Yeah, and the information has to be exactly the same.
Yes. That's a very good thing to bring up. Important stuff. And that's what we want to make sure is that you know everything so you don't get caught
Stuff
making
and things.
Stuff and things. When will the police start charging bicycles that break the road laws, I assume? And the answer is we do. Do we target them? Do we focus all our efforts there? No. Our focus is going to be on the big four always because we're looking for the stuff that protects life. But cyclists do get hurt, and we do enforce laws. We do want to protect, pedestrians from cyclists on sidewalks and things of that nature. It happens, but it doesn't happen as the focus of our missions.
And you know what? Cyclists that are breaking the road rules put others at risk as well. We've had instances where cyclists have collided with other cyclists or with pedestrians, and it's resulted in fatality. So, for somebody to say, well, it's only a cyclist, it doesn't harm anything, it's not true.
This year, we've had a cyclist run into another cyclist and cause them to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. But very often, whenever we talk about bicycle safety, the bicycle community turns around and says, "Well, if I hit you or if I hit your Mack truck with my bicycle, I'm not even going to dent it." Well, that's true. You might get seriously hurt though, and it's everything. And they'll dislike the fact that I bring this up, but someone has to come and clean up you at the end of that. Someone has to, paramedics and ambulance and doctors and police and witnesses. Everyone's going to see you in that state. Not to mention the traffic, but everyone will be impacted because you got hurt because you potentially did something wrong. We want to prevent everyone from getting hurt as best we can. So that's why even cyclists' lives matter. Yep. And I say that with a smirk because someone is already upset with me before I even said that. We want everyone to be safe, really we do. Okay. We've got, will you do this after retirement? I wouldn't know what to do between 10 and 11 if you stop, just stare at the wall and be sad. Who knows? I might be so bored in retirement that I'll have to do this and just stay and just do this from home or maybe from a beach in the Bahamas or something.
Or maybe you'll get a job somewhere else doing this professionally.
Who knows? Hey, this is professional.
It is.
Ish.
You got stuff and things inside that brain there.
That's right.
You know what? It needs to come out.
That's it. We'll talk. I'll talk about cheese or something afterwards.
Cheese.
Yeah, I like cheese. Are there any plan? I don't know what the NY is. Are there? Oh, it's the NE. Are there any plans to make people with scooters insured? E-scooters. They're making real biking dangerous. I talk about it all the time. There is nothing that I'm aware of that is going to change with electric scooters, e-bikes, e-vehicles. In fact, I think there's going to be more e-vehicles of different kinds that are going to be tested and permitted to be on the road legally. They'll have to follow different rules. There's an electric vehicle and light vehicle and what is the other word I'm looking for? There's
I don't know. This is your story.
There's a pilot project that's coming out, and it's for mobility.
Yep. E-mobility devices.
Yeah, mobility. Let me pull it up. Mobility Pilot Ontario. Let's see if I can find it this way. Economy, no.
No.
I'll find it later. Micromobility, that's the one.
That's it.
So there's a project that's going to deal with large quadricycles, electric kick scooters, cargo power assisted. That's the one that's currently in here. No, there's a new one. Micromobility Pilot. Okay, micro. Watch Sean Google. Transforming the way.
That's the same one.
Same one?
Yep.
In any case, there is something here. There's a pilot. I'll have to find it later, and we'll talk about it maybe next week. But they're basically talking about bringing a whole bunch of vehicles, and it's going to change the way the road landscape looks again.
Yep.
And I have some concerns, and but ultimately it's going to be tested, and we're going to see it play out in real time.
And we as the police are consulted when they bring out these new pilot projects. We give feedback. They don't always listen to us, but we give feedback because, like we said before, we want to keep everybody safe, and we want to make it the safest possible while allowing people to explore these new ways of transportation.
Yeah, and there's benefits there. There are potential benefits.
Absolutely, there is. I see some of these things; they're mostly unlawful on the streets, but I look at them, I go, "That's kind of cool. I want to try that." But I won't do it because I know they're unlawful.
And some of them are very dangerous. Like I look at those electric unicycles, and I don't know anyone who has been able to make an argument to me that a one-wheel balancing system running on batteries that does 60 or 70K an hour is just safe. And I will give credit where credit is due. The people who are riding that for the most part are wearing body armor. They're wearing like motocross shells.
I was about to say, you can tell the difference between an e-scooter because sometimes they don't wear any protective equipment, but on those one-wheeled unicycle type things, they're wearing full-on motocross helmets with goggles and shoulder pads because is the potential higher that they're going to get seriously hurt going that fast? Absolutely.
Do you remember Super Dave Osborne?
Yes, I do.
So Super Dave Osborne, for anyone born probably after us, probably doesn't know who that is, but there was an SCT. It was SCTV, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a local.
I think it was SCTV.
Yep.
A comedy show, and Super Dave was a segment. I think it eventually turned into its own show. But this is a guy that would be launched. I mean, they would take a rag doll, essentially, a dummy that they'd shoot out of a cannon. But that was a big spiel of the show. And I just visualize these people in collisions. And I've actually seen dash cam from collisions involving these people on one-wheel unicycles. It's horrifying. They're basically just ragdolls being rocketed through the sky, hitting things, and bad things happen. Bodies are not meant to travel through the air and land on hard things. Anyway, moving along. Yes. So to answer the question, we're going to see what happens.
We're talking the next one though is about insured.
But again,
should they be insured?
I think everything should be insured. And now even I make the argument, and lawyers have talked about the fact that they are sort of insured. And if a bicycle hits a car, your car insurance can pay for it, even though it's their fault.
My own car insurance, if you run into my car.
Yeah, your insurance pays for the cyclist.
The one that I paid for.
Right, that they didn't pay for.
Right.
They're going to get some coverage. If they have home insurance or car insurance, it may also pay for them for extra benefits, but it's a really messed up system. And I don't think it appropriately covers those people, but that's
So if they do something wrong, riding a bike that's uninsured, it ends up being my fault and I have to pay for it.
Yeah. Even if you don't get charged for it, but your rates might go up.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair.
It's a little bit confusing. When making right turns, are you allowed to go into the bike lane or to stay in the live lane?
Depends.
Yes, I don't know. Someone asked me the very same question yesterday, and I wonder if it was you, if you saw my response. But it depends on the way that the individual bike lane is constructed. If it is a cycle track, then you do not go into the bike lane because it's a protected environment. If it's a cycle lane, it's got a hash mark to it. You're actually entitled to go and pinch the curb, and that would make it so the bicycle could either stop and wait behind you or pass you on the left-hand side of your vehicle safely when it's safe to do so. There's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of belief that a cyclist has a right of way. It's just another lane that's protected to protect them from the cars, but not to give them necessarily an advanced lane to rocket past other people. So we have a lot of, we occasionally, I don't want to say a lot of, we have occasionally situations where cyclists get cut off and it's not their fault. And then we have sometimes where they don't believe that the car should be there and they run into them. Maybe not intentionally, but it depends. Depends on the design and construction of that intersection. At the end of the day, you're making a turn. You're in a liability situation when you're turning. Make sure you don't cut anybody off. You're responsible for making sure you can complete your turn in safety, and you want to pay attention to the cyclists because as much as I poke fun occasionally at them, they're people. I want to protect them and make sure they get to where they're going safe too.
Yep, and they have a right to travel on the roads just as much as the cars do.
Absolutely. Can you be pulled over for going up and down on your speed?
Up and down? Why? Are you speeding and then coming back to normal? Or are you driving at the normal speed and then going slower? Are you obstructing traffic? Are you going in excessive
There's a
traffic?
lot of I want to talk about this, but I don't have enough to even talk about this.
I can tell you, you'd probably upset an awful lot of people behind you.
You're probably going to get investigated for impaired driving. If you're going up and down in your speed, like you can't maintain a constant speed, we're going to wonder what you're doing. It's either you're on the phone, you're impaired. Like maybe there's something else you're looking for, and we're not picking up what you're putting down. So maybe rephrase your question and come on back. Do you need a license for an e-scooter? Depends. I say depends because there are e-scooters that are not e-scooters. There are e-scooters that are very much motor vehicles under the Highway Traffic Act that are not legal for the road anyways. But you'd save yourself one ticket if you had a license.
Yeah. So an e-scooter or an e-bike that has been modified that does not meet the exemption of that e-scooter e-bike,
And I should clarify,
is a motor vehicle, would require, like an e-bike, turns into a motorcycle.
and an e-kick scooter is a stand-up scooter, which if it goes more than 24 kilometers an hour, is not street legal in any way, shape, or form. But if you had a license, that's one less charge for driving a motor vehicle without a license.
Right.
But so you have the legal permissions or legal criteria that make an e-bike or e-kick scooter legal for the road. And in Toronto specifically, e-kick scooters are prohibited regardless. But in some places in Ontario, they're legal. So you have the ones that qualify, and if they qualify, they're treated like bicycles. They don't need licenses. But the second they breach that, they're not covered by the legislation that gives them the benefit of being treated as a bicycle, and they become motor vehicles again, or they revert back to their original state of always being motor vehicles, because you've got these things that were designed to go 50, 60, 70K and are limited. They're not really okay for the road. If you have if they're capable of more than 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface, not legal for the road. If they have a motor greater than 500 watts in power, not legal for the road. And people go and say, well, they put a little limiter on there. And they take this big old 1,200 or 1,500 watt or a 12,000 watt motor, and but it doesn't go more than 32 kilometers an hour. Well, that's not legal because there's a switch.
Until they unplug it.
Right. So there's problems.
And you know what? There are electric motorcycles out there. For example, Harley Davidson makes a 100% full electric motorcycle. It is like a rocket. It needs to be licensed, insured, and it passed Transport Canada regulations. And it is a motor vehicle, a motorcycle, and you need a motorcycle driver's license.
For sure.
In the same way that a Tesla is an electric car, the same as any other car. It just one is gas powered, one is electric powered.
It's funny. We were talking about this earlier, and I said, if nobody else needs a license and all these things do the same thing as a car, why does a car need a license? Like, at a certain point, they're going to have to regulate everything because there's just so much on the road that you can't give special treatment to everybody, because then why have a car at all and pay for all this stuff when you could just have all this other stuff? There's going to be a change. There has to be.
Sean, why do they make regulations?
Because someone done something.
Right, because there's a problem and they have to regulate it.
Yeah.
So it's coming to that point right now.
I think so.
It's getting so busy, especially in the city of Toronto, with everybody doing everything all the time. They're going to have to step up and make regulations to control it, just to make sure it's safe for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Do road users have to obey the City of Toronto traffic agents? What authority do they have?
See, I know this one firsthand because I spent last week training them.
Perfect.
So they are special constables. They're sworn for the purpose of directing traffic. Can they write you a ticket if you disobey them? Absolutely, they can. But their job is out there is to help the flow of traffic. Mm-hmm. And if somebody disobeys them, you know what? They're going to call one of us over to help them, and we'll probably lay the charge for them because we can prosecute it through court a little bit easier. And they're going to go right back to directing traffic again. So,
and you hurt one of them. We had a situation where one was run into. You're assaulting a police officer, or a peace officer, I should say, and that just carries more weight than if you're assaulting somebody else, which you shouldn't assault anybody. But if you hit one of them, that's the same charge essentially as if you were hitting a parking enforcement officer, a police officer, a peace officer status. A mayor can't hit the mayor. Peace officer.
He is a peace officer. Yep.
She is.
She is. Yes.
We had a new one.
Well, I don't live in the city of Toronto.
This is true. You're a mayor.
My mayor.
Akela came in late and said greetings and salutations, and then sent another message saying that he has to pack for a trip and he's leaving. But we'll read the last message he gave us, his standard goodbye early. So we'll represent that. What's the best driving school for a nervous teen? We can't endorse a particular driving school. Driving schools, however, are really good.
Yeah.
Like just in general, professional training, really, really good. I can say that Truba Cars, which our friend Scott Marshall's is affiliated with, is not a driving school, but they will help you find a driving school. They actually create curriculum for driving schools. And Trubakar he comes onto the show. In fact, if you go back to previous episodes on YouTube, I've asked him questions about this, and he's got some suggestions for what nervous teens can do. But ultimately, finding a good teacher like a good professional instructor that you jive with and get along with is going to be good. Better than getting mom, dad, cousin, brother, friend to teach you.
Yeah, both my kids went through driving school. The first when my son went through, he was the older one. When he went through, we found a really, really good one that he clicked with, and I made sure that when my daughter went through, went with him as well, and he was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And they both passed on their first go, and they're both absolutely fantastic drivers.
Good stuff.
Now I got to tell you, they have been riding, driving, operating snowmobiles, ATVs, for the longest time, because that's kind of what we do. And we always do it legally. They're allowed to drive it at age 12. They're allowed to drive earlier on my property, which they all did, and which makes them better drivers when they get out on the road.
Experience is the most important thing. Absolutely. Getting out there and doing it. So, professional instruction, yes, and then lots and lots of practice will really help. Not being in heavy populated areas, if you've got a nervous teen, take them somewhere outside, less busy, and then gradually increase the areas. Yeah. This is a comment. A traffic policeman isn't a real policeman. Sorry, it's not. You aren't saying that they aren't. I mean, maybe you're asking if they are. I don't know. I'm trying to put it together. But at the end of the day, we are real policemen. Traffic agents or special constables. We're police officers who happen to specialize in traffic. But I love the questions. That one came in late. I accidentally hit it early.
You know what? Traffic collisions and traffic deaths and traffic injuries affect more lives than all other crimes put together.
I think we have a poster that says that.
I think we do.
Yeah. And it's true. Historically, you look at the murders, the actual homicides and whatnot, the numbers are neck and neck with the fatalities on the road. So very often there's more traffic fatalities than criminal homicides and whatnot. And then some years we're even. Very rarely are we less than, which is really sad.
So a homicide is when somebody does something to kill somebody. Mm-hmm. And a traffic fatality is when somebody does something that results in killing somebody. Could be themselves, could be somebody else. Mm-hmm. I don't see the difference. I don't see how one is more worser than
more worse or more worthy of investigation or efforts. People say, when go out and stop criminals. Well, and this is generalizing horribly, but very often we see death that is criminal on criminal death. One gang between another gang, bad guy doing something. It's not so TV centric that we have people generally just out and about getting killed. Just generally, it happens, but not as often as one might think. When someone dies on the road, it's someone who very often was just going about their day.
Yeah,
it's truly someone who would have never been involved in the thing. They're just in the wrong place when an impaired driver came by. Like it's truly tragic. All death is tragic, but it's funny how people can say, no big deal, it's just a traffic death, versus someone gets shot, and now this is a big deal, compared to the many, many who, anyway, it's gone forever. A thank you from Michael H., who says, Sean and Good Sergeant and T.Cop, thank you for your work. That is awesome, thank you. Always appreciate you, Michael. Okay, this is wrong button. Is there any laws around driving barefoot? I keep hearing different stories. I, for one, grew up thinking that barefoot driving was illegal.
But it may be unlawful in some places.
But not here.
It
is definitely not a good idea. You have the soft, squishy stuff in your toesies, and sometimes you get an emergency driving situation, you smash that pedal, and you're going to hurt yourself so much so that you might, maybe let up on the pedal. There's some bad things that can happen.
How about if you get involved in a collision? Somebody crashes into you, and you have to exit your vehicle through debris, broken glass,
fire, chemicals.
You know what? Do you really want to be doing that in barefoot?
That's a big one, and I don't think people consider that. You would not be wanting to. Who sang the song "Broken Glass"? Anyway, you wouldn't want to be walking through it. It would be bad. From the Eurythmics. She went off on her own. Yeah.
Annie Lennox.
Yes.
There you go.
See?
Look at that. Way back there, I pulled it out.
From the recesses. If I showed my insurance electronic copy on my phone, is it right to get fined?
Depends.
So a photograph of your insurance is not. an electronic copy when it comes to the law. It has to be the original slip or provided through an app that comes from your insurance company. Technically speaking, it has to be an app that is secure, and you have to be able to send the police that document. There's a criteria other than just show me a picture of a piece of paper. So it depends.
Is it right to get fined?
If
You're not doing it right.
If you're breaking the
it's
law,
right
then
to get
yes.
fined.
Yes. Okay, what is this? So is any window tint legal in Ontario?
Yes.
We covered this earlier. If you rewind and replay, if you're on TikTok, you can't actually rewind. But if you go to YouTube, essentially, 30% light blockage is the maximum. So 70% of light has to come through in the windows left, right of the driver, nothing on the windshield. Rear windows and back can be as dark as you wish, as long as you can see clear view to the rear by way of mirrors. But that doesn't mean that it's legal because it's legal for certification with 30%, but if it's dark outside and we can't see inside, you're eligible for a ticket. I know it sucks, but that's the deal. If we can't see you, you're good for a ticket.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I see a lot of violators.
They had to make a level that they could use a meter to test to see if it passed certification. But it doesn't mean it's rules for the road. The rules for the road say you can't operate it on the road if you're obscuring the view of the interior.
Or vice versa.
I want to see who you are.
Yeah, need to see.
I need to see. I want to see if you're on the phone. I want to see if you're wearing your seatbelt. I want to see everything that's going on inside that vehicle.
And not just the police, the public too. People get involved in collisions. People are running away. There's Amber reports. We're looking for kids. There's all sorts of reasons why we need to see. And picking your nose is not a justified tinted window purchase.
I say pick it anyways.
Just
be proud of it.
Pick it and be proud. Pick it, proud picking. Okay, we can make a T-shirt. Proud picker. Doug Allen sent a dad joke. I'll keep it for later. Where is a good place to take a new driver? Open space, no cars. You know what? It depends on where you are. Driving schools can't take you to a school parking lot on a weekend, but you could take them to a school parking lot on the weekend if you're not a professional driving instructor, and you could take that environment if it was safe to do that.
If you're allowed to.
You're not right. Yeah.
If it's private property, then you have to have the permission of the private property owner to do so. And if you damage it, you're liable for it.
This is true. And everything's recorded on camera. So It's not a place to start doing evasive maneuvers. And just a reminder that stunt driving is a charge that can be laid on private property. But open space, there's tons of places early in the morning if teens want to wake up early. Maybe with maybe with the advertisement of driving time, wheel time. Maybe that's but outside of the city in more rural areas is probably the place to go. If you can find it. We have appreciated from traffic police, Punjab, Pakistan. So Basharat is, I'm assuming, a Punjab, Pakistan policeman. Is that what I'm getting here? Either way, thank you very much for the hello and the long distance hello at that. I think you're the first person from Pakistan to say hello if you're physically there right now. We've had a lot of international.
We're talking about being international today.
Yeah, we really are. This episode in particular. Thanks very much. Boom, what do we got here? We got what happens if you have a medical emergency on a red light? Can you get a ticket?
If you have a medical emergency on a red light.
I'm assuming they mean can they run a red light in a medical emergency? Like they really got to go.
Or if they're stopped at a red light and have a medical emergency and slip through. Yeah,
I'm assuming,
narrow that down for us.
If you're still here. Some people ask their questions, then ghost and come back and watch the replay.
So can you run a red light on a medical emergency? No.
Police, fire, ambulance with full emergency equipment activated. That's the only time. And it's not even running it. They have to come to a stop and ensure it's safe to go through the light, and only then can they proceed.
And they must have their emergency equipment activated.
Yes.
Their siren must be constantly sounding.
There's rules.
And the liability is 100% on them.
Yeah, someone hits them. It wasn't safe to go when they went, and you would be 100% liable. You could get a ticket for it, and don't do that. The goal is guaranteed arrival, especially if you have a medical emergency, is to get there without creating new patients. That's a big deal. Can you fight for a refund if I get unnecessary traffic jam on 407?
Do they guarantee?
I don't think you get access to the road, not the speed in which you are going to travel. So I would say that is a no, although good luck to you.
Although I would go after the person who caused the collision on the 407 for holding up thousands and thousands of people.
Oh, it's terrible. But here's the funny thing. A lot of those traffic jams are caused by people who choose to speed. It's counterintuitive to think that speeding could slow you down, but yeah, it does. Apparently, I've missed a whole bunch of questions above.
Where?
I may have just I may have flagged them out of sequence.
I was looking up. They're above.
I've got a bunch of questions that I haven't. Let's see if I.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, no, but see all these flagged ones? They're all flagged already. But if I flag them out of order, they get read out of order, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going back and flagging some more stuff. That'll likely be out of order again. Distracted driving. Okay, we'll talk about that. By the way, today I have a 10:15 appointment online.
Super Dave.
Oh, bizarre. Thank
that was
you.
it. That was the name of the show.
It was not
Super Dave started on the show Bizarre.
with John Biner.
Yep.
I remember that. Thank you so much. Who said that? Who's the commenter? Jeff S. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. I'm now going to have to look at YouTube and try and find them. Yeah, I used to watch all those things. And then who was the other one? The British guy.
Benny Hill.
Benny Hill. Thank you. I watched that too. That was what my childhood Saturdays were. I think it was Saturdays. Anyway, whenever it was on. Okay, so I'm going to try and race through the next 15 minutes of stuff and
Yes,
things.
because we have. You have something going on in 15 minutes. So
yes, I might be able to go 5 after, but I won't be able to do the half hour extra that I like to do. Okay, let's get these out of the way first. So, our out-of-province driving suspensions shown on CPIC. It's not in particular CPIC. It's actually a ministry search, but we do have access to search that.
yep.
So that's that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Can I drive private property without a license, or is it considered stunt driving? So there's no charge for drive no license applicable to private property, but stunt driving without a license on private property will still get. Well, actually, stunt driving with or without a license on private property will see you getting charged.
Yes. So yes, you can drive on private property without a license. You do not require a driver's license to operate on private property, with the permission of the private property. Can you stunt drive anywhere? Absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere. It is not allowed. Here, what's it? I got a button on my phone now. It says I'm streaming. Watch online. That's my response to calls coming in.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Okay. If I need to enter a diamond lane to turn right, how much of the lane can I drive prior to the turn? Is it specified in the HTA? Essentially, the way I would police it as just me, Sean, traffic guy, if I see you enter the lane and you don't qualify and you continue past the next intersection as opposed to turning at it, that is when I would have an issue with you.
Yep. Or the private drive.
Well, the private drive, yeah, you should be in there before the private drive, but I'd be more interested in the intersection for me personally.
There may be actually a bylaw regulation in the city of Toronto that says meters on it.
Oh,
Provincially, I don't believe so.
I don't know of either, but that's how I've always played it. Give you the benefit of the doubt until the intersection.
Yep. Until you go through there, and guess what?
In your mind.
Yep.
Good question, though. I don't think anyone's ever asked that before. Stephen Bell has a question, and the question is, if someone gets into a collision and the person has no license and insurance plus a stolen vehicle, bad day in the office for them, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
usually when you see them running away.
Yeah.
And you know what? We have lots of tools in our tool belt to track you down and get you.
Dogs, too. The dogs are really, they
Police
like
radio?
exercise. Yeah.
Police dogs.
I like dogs.
Police helicopter.
We phone friends for police helicopters.
We do. We don't have our own.
No. Although I remember someone getting on the air and going, I'm on Air One, right? That's what they called up doing that. There may have been a couple of people who did that once upon a time. 3-lane road, far left lane driver and far right lane driver both want middle lane. Who goes first?
There's no law saying who goes first.
But you're both responsible.
Absolutely. Any person making a lane change is responsible to do so only when it's safe.
So if you do it at the same time and you clump together like cymbals, you're both responsible.
Absolutely.
Generally speaking, one person is going to be starting, but you don't own the lane until you own the lane.
Yep.
And when you're first in the lane, owns the lane. So if one person, anyway.
Who goes first? Well, I would say
Chicken or the egg.
I would say offset yourself and then try and do it.
Yeah, pay attention, shoulder checks, that sort of thing. If you see signals, cautious. What should I do if I lose my wallet and license but need to drive the same day? If you lose it, if you truly lose it, you want to be reporting that to police because someone's opening a bank account in your name. Secondly, you want to go to the ministry and get it replaced, which can be done, and they would instantly give you a temporary card while they are a temporary paper while they're going to send you a new one.
And you know what? You may need to drive that same day, but could you be eligible for a ticket? Absolutely.
Yeah, but if you had a police report saying, "Hey, I just lost my wallet and I found out that I lost my wallet," and then you're on your way to the ministry and that's when you get stopped, at least you have a police report number to substantiate it. You've taken some steps that support what you're saying. But some people might say they lost their wallet and they're on the way to replace it as their excuse 7 times in a row. We'd see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at very least, you'd be getting a warning. I would not let someone go without a printed warning for that, because
In
that
any
would
circumstance.
because it would substantiate what they said.
Yep.
and the interaction. So. What happens if you have 7 people in a 5-seater and 2 people get tickets? My math is right there. Yeah.
And it could be the driver as well because they may be crowded.
Yes. And so that's an additional charge. And if they're under the age of 16, the driver gets those tickets.
Yep.
Yeah. You can only travel with people in your vehicle for the number of seats you have in the vehicle.
And seatbelts.
And seatbelts. That's what I meant with seatbelts. That's what I was going for. So that's the answer to that question and that one. Chase has a question. Let's see here. What happens if you were at fault and collision and it's over $2,000, but you decide with each other driver you'll pay out of pocket, not involve police or insurance? At $2,000 combined amongst both vehicles, of all vehicles, you are legally obligated to report to police. Whether you claim on insurance is up to you.
Yep. 2 totally separate things. Claiming your insurance is totally, it's a civil process that you decide with the other driver what you want to do. Doesn't really matter. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. Over $2,000 or personal injury or any criminality, you have to make a police report, no matter what. And all drivers get charged if they don't.
Yes, it's a bad thing.
So if you think you come up with a deal with the other driver and say, I'm not going to report this, you don't do it either, and then one of them does, guess what?
And I got to tell you, I have been hit by cars. I'd be rear-ended when I was in my vehicle, and the other driver very often says, I will take responsibility. You tell me how much. Well, 2 things are true. One, the damage is rarely as low as you think it is.
Yep.
Because there's all sorts of under the hood things that have happened. 2, the person doesn't generally want to pay when you tell them the actual number. Then you start arguing about how much money. Listen, you pay insurance for a reason. If they caused the collision, they're the ones responsible. It's their insurance rates that are going to be eating it. I understand their desire not to have their insurance rates go up. Not my problem. And I am not making special deals.
If nothing less, make the police report. You have evidence that it occurred and the person that did it.
Yes. If they renege on the deal that you made, and it happens a lot, then you have a course of action. Okay. How long can you have a license, hunting license for? I haven't the foggiest. I don't hunt.
Nor do I.
Then we moving on.
I would say till it expires.
That's a good answer. You've thought about this. Does a company truck need a yellow sticker even if it won't be exceeding the gross vehicle weight rating on the registration?
Depends what the gross vehicle weight rating is.
Yeah, if it's not, if it's
I think it's 3,500.
Like I was going to say, a company truck. What makes it a truck? Is it like if a minivan is different? Like
So a company truck is a company truck with a commercial plate on it. Does it need to be inspected every year and put what's called a device on the window? It all depends on the weight of the vehicle.
Who's the inspector? He was just wondering if we were live.
We are.
We are.
Hello, sir.
Why cut? What is this? Why cars cut off the trucks when they across slower traffic trucks lock at 150? What?
105.
105.
Because drivers can sometimes be ignorant.
Yeah, I was going to say cars that cut off trucks are just not very good drivers, or maybe clueless to the fact that the truck. They may not even see them. It's amazing to me what some people do, and not amazing to me in a good way. There's some bad drivers out there.
Yep.
Putting lives
what? I give kudos to the commercial vehicle operators out there. They do this for a living. 90% of the time, they are professional in what they do at all times. They have huge vehicles that takes an awful lot of time to get up to speed and an awful lot of time to bring down from speed.
They're carrying weight.
And they can be, 60, 65 feet long sometimes. And the ones on the 400 series highways, the 401 in the corridor, they can have double 53-foot trailers on top of it. That's a long train of vehicle to be in charge of.
They don't stop on a dime. There's none of this lock up and no. This is a train essentially taking a long time. Trains could take kilometers to stop. They have hundreds of cars. This is still like you have to think of it that way. I want to drive all sorts of vehicles. I do not want to drive an 18-wheeler loaded. No interest at all. I know I think you've said you have in the past.
I have, and my son, very interested right now, and actually wants to go to school for it and give it a try.
I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, kudos to him. If he wants to do it,
100%.
Just do it properly, do it safe, and
For sure. Chase wants to know, why do police often lay careless and speeding along with stunt? Isn't stunt the most appropriate charge usually? And why don't you lay cell phone and careless then?
sorry, for the last part there, cell phone and careless, absolutely. Laid it myself. As soon as you pick up the cell phone, as soon as you touch it, that offense is committed. It's called fait accompli. The cell phone charge is late. But if you're on your cell phone, you picked it up, you're using it, and now you're doing this with it instead of looking up here, that's a cell phone. You picked it up, you're using it, and you're not paying attention.
It all depends on the officer and what they substantiate in their mind and on their notes, and how they interpret, whether they want to be a nice guy, a less nice guy, how they interpret the action.
Yep.
Police officers are able to lay the charges as they feel appropriate and can substantiate.
Now, can you lay a speeding and a stunt? Not a careless and a...
Yeah, speeding and stunt, absolutely.
Yep.
Careless and speeding and stunt, I don't know if that would work together, but maybe in some jurisdictions that's how they do it. I don't know. I've never done that. I haven't done careless with speeding. I've done speeding and stunt together, but not careless.
Right. And cell phone and careless.
And if it was stunt, I would be aiming towards criminal dangerous. If it was stunt, and like instead of careless, it would, because careless, stunt, and criminal dangerous, sort of, that's the sort of the row for me. As they escalate, I wouldn't combine those. Let's see here. Does your muffler have to be located at the far rear of the vehicle? Interesting question. You've got an answer for that.
I do. It has to be at the rear of the passenger compartment. It can't come out of the back. And pickup trucks, even in front of the wheels. Vehicles manufactured before a certain date, thinking sort of the older Corvettes and the older Shelby Cobras, things like that. They can come out in front of the back wheels. But any vehicle manufactured, I'm going to say 70s on, has to come to the rear of the passenger compartment of the vehicle. The trunk is still part of the passenger compartment.
The trunk is?
Trunk is.
Okay. I guess especially in newer,
it's one
kind of hatch cappy.
No, it's one enclosed thing. So with a truck on a frame, the passenger compartment is separated from the bed side of it. So the exhaust can come out just behind the passenger compartment.
Gotcha.
And that's to keep CO2 out of your car.
So you don't die.
Yeah.
Probably important. What kind of cars does the Vision Zero enforcement team get to drive compared to TES units? So what's TES?
Traffic enforcement.
I don't know.
Something.
So they
TPS?
Maybe TPS unit. So our primary dispatcher or response vehicle is going to be a Ford Explorer, Police Interceptor. We used to have Tauruses. I think they've almost all been phased out.
Yeah, there's a few of them still around.
Unfortunately, there's no more Crown Vics. But the Vision Zero enforcement team has minivans, has SUVs, has pickup trucks. Yeah, they've got some
Chargers.
Yeah.
Really fast Chargers.
Ooh, yeah. They go vroom, vroom.
Yeah, they have some pretty cool vehicles. And, some of them you wouldn't even recognize to be a police vehicle. The Acadia that they have. It looks like a...
SUV?
Yeah, just a regular SUV. We had a couple of minivans here for a while.
Yeah.
They were great.
They weren't great for comfort. They were like a short minivan, Pontiac.
Yep.
They weren't great to drive. But they were great for catching people.
Yep.
So Kiana wants to know, what does the emergency task force do? I was going to say work out.
They do that.
They do a lot of stuff. I got 2 minutes left. I want to see if there's any, let's see here. Kiana also got a parking ticket for parking sideways at the end of the driveway between the sidewalk and the road. Why is that? Well, that's actually city property.
Yeah,
that
you don't
area
own that.
Yeah, it's not yours. And generally speaking, it means, just having spoken to Aaron, not Karen, about this, that's not something they generally enforce unless someone's complained.
Great.
So that means that one of your neighbors is a fun person. Just saying.
And loves you.
And loves you a lot.
Wants to complain about you.
Yeah, that's my understanding. I could be wrong. Maybe they do enforce it now. If a guy's license is suspended in Ontario, can they drive in other provinces? oddly enough, we have these wonderful laws that say if you're suspended in another province, you're suspended here too, and vice versa. If you're suspended here, obviously it doesn't work anywhere else. If you're suspended in the States, would it be suspended here? We'd consider it a suspension. But if you go back to that area, you can get arrested.
If you're suspended, if your driver's license is suspended, it means it's not valid.
Right.
You can't take that and drive anywhere else because it's not valid in the
Origin.
state or the province that issued it.
But if
So
you're
you don't have
suspended somewhere else, so if you're an Ontario driver, you're suspended in Virginia, there may not be a communication. We may not be aware of it. But I guarantee you one thing, you go back to Virginia and you're driving, they will arrest you because they do not mess around.
Yeah.
So it all depends. If we know about it, we're going to suspend you or we're going to consider you suspended. All right. I have spoken longer than I thought I would about things. I have missed a whole bunch, but because I have a meeting in 15 minutes, I have to prepare for, I'm going to have to cut it off short. And I
Just give me one more.
1932 Ford?
Yeah, I mean, I like old cars, so.
I own a 1932 Ford with original ownership. I think
Probably
you're going
ownership.
with. I don't need to wear a seatbelt? Question mark.
Is it manufactured with a seatbelt?
It was not.
Probably not.
No.
Then no, you don't.
So vehicles are required to maintain the rules and abide by the rules when they were manufactured. And that's why a lot of custom car people buy old cars and then drop big old engines in them because they maintain the rules and regulations of their original manufacturer.
Until it becomes so substantially modified that it is not an image of its original.
But
So
there you go. Very cool.
That's it. We're done.
By the way, I got to say,
one dad joke.
yes, the
Before
dad
you go-
joke is flagged. We covered this one already. What happens there? Well, let me take this one last one.
No, just a dad joke.
Just that joke? Okay.
You gotta go.
Good morning and happy Friday. Did you hear about the pot of coffee that had to file a police report? Apparently it got mugged this morning. That's not a bad one. Let's see here. We've got, how do moths swim? They use the butterfly stroke. My dad used to always say the sky's the limit. That's probably why he got fired as an astronaut from NASA.
I get it.
I get it too. But I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Anyway,
Wah, wah, wah.
okay. Why does Sherlock Holmes love eating at Mexican restaurants? They always give him good quesadillas. Case ideas? Case ideas.
All right, that's it.
Last one because it's Friday. It's the Friday joke. I tried to call tinnitus helpline, but it just keeps ringing.
Tinnitus?
Tinnitus is the ringing in your ears. Yeah.
Okay, I like that one.
That's not bad. Folks, it's been a magical FriYay. I didn't get into nearly as many questions as I thought I would. For that, I apologize. I'd love to answer your questions. Please bring your questions back on Monday, 10 to 11. We'll do it all again. I won't have anything afterwards. We'll probably go late. Usually we go to 11 o'clock and then stop taking new questions, but answer all of them. And unfortunately, I got to go. So have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, drive sober, and we'll see you Monday.
lawfully.
Park lawfully. Yes, very important.
Yes.
Tickets bad. Have a great weekend.